everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Sales and Entrepreneurship series, where we are actually going to be discussing a number of things along the lines of sales and entrepreneurship. Those are going to be actually the main themes. However, we will be covering a lot of different things along the lines of mindsets and all the other different components that really make up sales or effective sales or being sales champions or really getting the entrepreneurial business running in the right way so that you move from entrepreneur or you move from startup to medium size, to small to medium size, then to large organizations. Mm-hmm. I am extremely happy to have with me Mr. David Ince all the way out there. Well, actually not really too far, right? Over there in Barbados. David and I know each other maybe going back just for about 12 or 13 years. But David, what I'm not going to do is that I'm not going to fully introduce you. What I'll do, I'll really ask you to introduce yourself to the public, let people know, who you are, of course, where it is that you reside from, and, what is it that you do, and, all the value and stuff that you offer, and then we can go in from there in the conversation. Take it away.
Great. Thanks a lot, Lyndon. And I'm really honored to be episode number 1. It's really, an honor for me to be with you. And
thanks for accepting.
Yeah. And I actually am a bit flattered that you choose to start off with me, someone across the water from you, And as you said, we've known each other now for over 12 years. A little bit about myself. I am a person who has always enjoyed helping others to develop.
Right.
And I didn't necessarily start out to become a development coach. That was not a life goal at the point in time.
Right.
It's just something that I did. For those who know me, I work in, I like to say, the 3 spaces: physical, emotional, and spiritual.
Right.
I am a track and field coach to teenagers. I am a professional life coach certified, ICF, and I am an associate pastor. So I tend to touch all 3 aspects of the individual. And it has been a blessing for me. And I actually enjoy seeing persons go from one level to the next.
Right.
I've spent some time in the classroom too, as been a part-time lecturer 5 years at UE and School of Continuing Education. Spent a little bit of time too in community college, all in the areas of helping persons to develop, most in adult education for the most part. So it's really with persons who are transitioning. And that is what drew me into developmental coaching. That's where I'm at right now. Of course, going back from our past, we would have spent much time in a leading technology firm within the region.
Yes. Correct.
In that time, we both had grown in our own ways as it relates to that aspect of our lives. But even in that space, and I think we both share this, we help persons to develop what it is that they were looking to grow, whether it was a business aspect, whether it was just getting systems better implemented, but it was always about helping the other person to develop.
Right.
So I think we share that aspect. We are developmental persons.
Right.
You attack it more from a sales perspective. Yeah. And incidentally, sales really is a part of all of our lives. Even those persons who say, I don't like sales or I'm afraid of sales. But when you present yourself, you're actually selling.
Correct.
Because if you're going to convince someone about anything, you have to sell the idea.
Yeah.
Even if the idea is you still have to sell the idea.
All right.
So selling is an integral part of all of our lives. And we do it from the time we are babies, really. Mm-hmm. You're influencing those around you and you're trying to get persons to see things through your eyes.
Right.
Or at the very least, trying to get them to look at it from your perspective.
Right.
Yeah. So we're all selling.
And I really do like exactly what you said there in terms of in everything that you do. We've really touched on different areas of growth, whether it was institutional growth, institutional and organizational growth, and within there we would have had the ability to interact with people. And that kind of touches on the subject that we spoke about leading into this discussion this morning, where Something that always really sort of baffled me sometimes was why people don't take personal development personally, like really a strong interest in growth. And that is kind of why I wanted to have that discussion with you. And I think it's excellent that you really are in those three spaces of, one, being a pastor, two, track and field, and of course professional life coaching, because I think you're really ideal. And then also from reading the first book that you wrote, I think it was From Idea to Implementation.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That touched me because of the fact that, as you know, at that time when I did purchase the book actually resonated with me, because I was moving from having an idea to now us having this conversation here right now,
Yes.
from implementation into being a full-time entrepreneur and really trying to help other people grow. So let me just ask you this question. Let me start with the question as to, David Boy, why do you think, from your corporate space and in these three spaces, why do you think sometimes people don't take personal development personally?
It comes down to a lack of ownership. People, especially within our space, persons are more willing to allow someone else to take responsibility for their growth. And I say that very broadly. We hear it in everyday speech. Something isn't working. Why is the government not doing something about it? It's always somebody else's responsibility to take care of the issue that is impacting the individual at the time.
Right.
And for me, that is where it starts, because until we are willing to accept that we are, and the individual that is the single most important element in the development of the individual, then we will always miss that mark.
Right.
And we get a lot of persons who come into an organization and they're willing to sit and allow someone else to tell them where to go, what to do, when to do it. Yeah, because they don't want to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. Because remember, if you took the initiative to act and it doesn't work out, then the blame is all yours.
Right.
And that's how we see it. We see it as a negative. But really, if you took the responsibility, even if it didn't work out, you would have learned something. You would have learned at least what not to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that helps you in the transition to the next level. But also, too, look at it from the positive. What if it works out? Now you have been empowered, and you have taken the power yourself. No one has given it to you. You took the decision, it worked out, you are now empowered. Yeah. If you have, and I know this is always up for debate, your boss, because some bosses don't like persons to take initiatives because it shows them up.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, really, good individuals always come to the top. And even if we have to leave the organization that we are presently in order to grow. Right? So it comes down really to ownership of your own destiny and your own direction.
Right.
And that's really the reason that so many plans and ideas and dreams go begging. Persons have great ideas. All of us have great ideas. You can walk out into the street. I can't tell you the number of persons I would have interviewed or been involved in interviews when you ask what are their life goals. And they would tell you, I want to own my own business. I want to do this. I want to write a book. How many people want to write books? How many people actually write books?
Correct.
Because we have the idea, and they're great ideas. But many times we ourselves don't take action on the ideas. And until we do, nothing is going to happen. And that's the reality.
So I have two things coming out of that. And that actually might even be three. And I'll try to maybe write them down as I mentioned in the first one here. And those go along the lines of fear, right? That's one. The other one is along the lines of culture, right? As it relates to that lack of ownership. Because some people are just genuinely afraid of the failure side of things. And I know that you just mentioned that. They are genuinely afraid of the fact that, you know what, this may blow up in my face. I may look like a fool. It's not going to make any sense. And then sometimes on the culture side, you tend to find that on the culture side, you may share an idea with someone, And this can actually be developed from a very young age. You share an idea with someone, say, "Oh, what's chipping? You're talking." You know, you don't need to. You can't do that, or you can't do those things, or that's not for you.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, we stop thinking that, you know what, I'm not interested in doing that anymore. Why? Because it's now been planted that you can't do it, but really and truly, somebody told you couldn't. You know.
Right.
And if we were to tie that back, let's say a little bit into your track and field space, I can actually maybe see certain people just thinking that they could only run the third leg and not run the last leg. You know, they can only do the first leg, or they only need to be a reserve and not really be on the field. You know, and what are your thoughts as it relates to those two things in terms of a little bit of the culture, a little bit of the fear?
Okay, actually, they're one and the same.
Right.
They're not separate and distinct. We have a culture of, lack of a better word, negativity. We see the negative before we see the positive.
Right.
And you pointed it out. You go to your buddy in the corner, "Man, I got an idea for a business." He gets chips and tell you, "What foolishness you talking about?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And because he's your friend and because you respect what he said, you start to think then the way he has expressed himself. You know, maybe this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, correct.
And for fear of damaging that relationship, so that's why I said it comes right back. Fear is an integral part. And for fear of affecting that relationship, you walk away from it.
Right.
And you never even try.
Yeah, you never tried it.
So you never even try.
Yeah.
So fear and culture comes in. And unfortunately, and I've shared this especially with my local audiences here, when I deal with especially a white American audience, they're more willing to take chances, take risks. When you come home to the Caribbean and you speak to a Black audience, they are afraid of, but what if this doesn't work out? I really can't leave my job to try this. Suppose, what about my mortgage? And I have so many, I would say, non-Black American friends, because you also see it in the Asian space too, where they are. You hear a person cashing in their 401, their whole pension plan, to open a restaurant. Anyone who knows about the restaurant in this industry knows that that is one of the most risky industries to get into. But you hear persons cashing their entire 401 plan, which is they have put all the bets, all the future life bets on this present activity working. And most of us would not. When I say us, I mean us Black West Indians. Would not do that.
And
consider the risk.
If it is that we spinning that along the lines of the entrepreneurship, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about the sales as well just now. But from the entrepreneurship side, I really do see that a lot. I mean, I could tell you, for me, I always give people my experience. I don't teach on anything that I haven't done, or talk about anything that I haven't tried, really. And I know that I was on the fence a lot. I had a number of different people who, you know, some were supportive, and then the others were, I don't want to say that they were not supportive, but they're cautious negativity, you know? So they were, quote unquote, giving me advice, but the advice was to stay where you are.
Because they cared about you. And that's the irony of it. It is not that these are persons who are negative for negative sake.
Correct.
It is, for example, I don't know if your mom supported you or not, but especially mothers, more so than fathers. A mother would say to you, but you got a plan for the child or your wife, or what about the house? So she is looking at securing that future, especially if she came up through, if she had a hard upbringing, if her background was one of scarcity. So now that you are a place of relative comfort, she don't want you to risk that comfort. But the reality of it is that until something change, you cannot grow. And we both know that. Growth, development requires change. Change often implies risk. Risk speaks about discomfort. But we want to stay in the comfort zone.
Because that's what that, that's where we feel safe, as we know that
Yeah.
we know what's coming next, because we've now nurtured ourselves into a routine. All right.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about sales, I've also seen sales people come with really good ideas, but sometimes when I talk to them and I say, "But why didn't you try this a long time ago?" They were afraid. They never
Yes.
brought it up because they felt it would not have been any good. So
Mm-hmm.
again, they already have that level of fear inculcated in them when it comes to something as simple as an idea. Because as I said, I've spoken to so many people with great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, when we're talking to Jared, great ideas will come out of the two things that we're talking about. He may have a series of excellent ideas. I might be talking to Curtis and we will come up with a number of good ideas. It's just a matter of the execution side of it.
Yes.
At our the organizations that we both left, again, I've been in an environment where we've had excellent ideas. It's just that people have been so afraid to try them, or the risk, because they see it as more of a risk. And I have to sometimes ask them, well, what are you going to lose? Like, if you don't do it, what do
Mm-hmm.
you stand to lose if you don't attempt it? The only thing that's going to die is the idea.
Correct. But it goes back to what you said earlier. It's the culture too.
Yeah.
This is what refrain do you often hear at that point in time? But this is how we always did it.
That's how we always do it.
You come with a new idea, but say, we never did it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you never did it that way because exactly, you never did it that way.
Right.
It's not that it can't be done.
Correct. If it is that you had to give some advice for the folks, let's say, like for instance with your track and field, if we had to use track and field as a little bit of that example, what do you see as some of the differentiators between those folks who are mediocre performers and then your real top performers? Like what's one of the couple characteristics that really differentiates those guys in terms of maybe trying a new technique, in terms of coming off the block, how they go into the corner, how they come out of the corner, that kind of stuff?
Even before that, even before you get to the actual skill level, it's a mindset.
Right.
The difference between the average athlete and the good or great athlete is mindset.
His mindset, right?
You actually see it even during practice, during training. There are those who believe, and I use that word deliberately, believe that they cannot beat this other person. I cannot win against this other person. Well, if you start from there, you will never. But then there are those who believe that they can conquer the world.
Yeah.
And they may not necessarily be the most talented, but they believe it. And then you see it coming out in the second element, work ethic.
Right.
Those who are willing to put in the effort, put in the work. Because there are those who see the opportunity, understand that it could happen, but they hedge their bets. So they don't go all in.
Wow. That's powerful, man. It starts with the belief, then it goes into the work ethic. Yeah. Right.
And then there's the others who would say, what the heck? Let me give all that I got.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst that can happen is you fail.
You fail.
But you learn something.
You learn something.
Yeah.
As Will Smith has coined the phrase, you fail forward. You fail with the learning to try something different, or to learn about what you would have just done to do it better the next time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think Denzel Washington would have said that at one of his graduation speeches.
Yeah.
If he's going to fall, then fall forward. Let me see what it is that I'm failing at or falling to. If you fall back, you don't necessarily see what it is. So fall forward, fail forward, step forward. We like to use the example of Edison. Edison had over 1,000 experiments with the light bulb. And when he was asked what kept him going, he said to the interviewer, I found 1,000 ways not to do it.
Right.
In other words, he saw each attempt as a learning experience rather than a failure. So it's really all about perspective. So that's actually the third aspect. So you have your mindset, your work ethic, and then your perspective. Because not every athlete, and I'm sticking with the track and field, not every athlete will become a world-class athlete.
Right.
That's a given. And we know that. Statistics show you that. But every athlete who is willing to put in the work will be a better person for it at the end of the day.
Right.
And we talk about it a lot, even in the areas of disciplinary or discipline from forces like cadets and scouts and that kind of thing, or persons who learn music at an early age. Once they've learned that discipline, they can carry it on to other areas and aspects of their life quite easily. And so too, it comes right back to how we started with sales.
Mm-hmm.
Sales is not simply about selling a particular product.
Mm-hmm.
Sales is a process.
Yeah.
Sales is even, I dare say, a lifestyle. If you understand that every idea, every thought that you are sharing with another, you are in essence selling them.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily doing it for money, but you are bringing your perspective to another,
Mm-hmm.
and you're hoping that they buy into it. And there the word goes in again. They're buying into it. So you are selling. You are selling the idea. You are selling your perspective. You are selling yourself.
Yeah.
And for most salespeople, and both of us worked in that space, when I was manager for my sales team, I often said to them, remember, you may not always work here in this company, but you will always be you. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure you are the best you when you are presenting yourself to whatever potential client you have. And so that 10 years down the road, you may not necessarily be selling pens. You may be doing something completely different, but the person remember you from how you presented yourself, your work ethic, your perspective on life.
Yeah.
And they can say, okay, well, yes, I remember Lyndon from those days. And the person that I know is a good person.
A good person. And that in itself, because that, now let me tell you something, that is so powerful what you said there, David, because I always say sometimes that the best compliment that a salesperson can get is when they get offered a job by somebody else that they're trying to sell to.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because that person would have recognized and appreciated the fact that, you know what? This man doing a really damn good job. I would love to have this person on the team. And what you said there in terms of you being you representing yourself, you're always selling. So you have that brand, you have that image, that thing that you carry about yourself, that it resonates long enough that the person remembers what is it that you did for them, how is it that you carried yourself. That is actually really, really, and you're going to make it a quote and send it back to you where it says you will always be you. That's really, really powerful. I totally appreciate you making that particular point. I want to ask you another question along the lines as to, let's kind of go back to the entrepreneurs a little bit and see how we could really give them some insights. You left a corporate space. You took the gamble, right? You took the gamble. You cashed in your 401k as you mentioned, and you are now doing this for how many years? It's what, 3-4 years?
This is 4 years now. Yeah.
4 years now, right? What advice through your experiences would you give to anyone that is maybe 1 year in the game, like myself? I'm just over 1 year, or thinking about it, so they have no skin in the game as yet. Or anyone that is still going through, they may be close to 4 years, but not maybe having that level of success and that kind of thing. What are some of the things that you will share through your experiences, maybe when you first started from day one to now that you'll want to share, and then from, of course, the things that you see from when you work with your clients?
Okay. Let's start at the very beginning. The thought will be excited. You will be excited to know that, okay, this is the possibility. Taking the first step will be scary.
All right.
Anyone who has gotten involved in business for the first time. Now, there are those serial entrepreneurs who do this as a matter of course, but there's always a level of anxiety when you step off the edge, and recognize it for what it is. It is fairly unknown. And the unknown is just that. We don't know. But we have a hope. We have a dream. We have a desire. And so what I try to encourage persons to do is to embrace the journey. By that, I mean, there will be days that you will question yourself. There are days that you would ask, is this really what I should be doing? Should I not just go and get a regular? You will ask yourself that question. But then you need to step back. On those days, you need to step back and ask, why are you doing this? What is the reason for me seeking to go after this. And I use myself as an example. I've asked myself, even in recent times, sometimes things aren't going the way that you would expect. And you and I know that you don't start out earning the same type of dollars that you would have in the corporate space.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you have a mortgage and a few loans to deal with, that can be a great motivator to go back.
Yeah.
But I encourage persons, especially when you get into that space, or what some persons call the liminal part of your journey,
Mm-hmm.
where you are at the point going back is no longer an option.
All right.
Going forward is scary.
Mm.
I say to them, keep your eye on the prize, but live in the moment.
Right.
Do what you need to do now to get through now.
All right.
Because sometimes looking at the plan, that may be 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
You may have started out with a 3-year plan. And sometimes we do that optimistically. But we know that most small businesses don't make a profit for the first 3 to 4 years.
True.
That's the reality. But optimistically, we drop a business plan and we're going to be making loads of money by the end of year 3. Sometimes the end of year 1, sometimes when we're really optimistic. And midway during that journey, the reality starts to hit you. The plan hasn't really changed. The goals are still the goals. But the reality on the ground, okay, there's a more payment coming up, and I'm not sure how I'm going to make that. And I'm speaking from experience here. There's the reality of that. And you start to really question yourself. So you need to step back and reevaluate. Because for the most part, and we can all see aspects of this in our lives, where once we have gotten through the difficult part, we look back sometimes months, years after, and you ask yourself, what were you really concerned about? What was it that, but if we didn't soldier on through that difficult moment, we would not be where we are at today. So from entrepreneurs, I encourage them, first of all, have a plan. Have a plan. And I can't stress that enough.
Right.
Too many young persons have great ideas and jump in without having a plan. So when things aren't working out, there's nothing to turn to. At least if you have a plan, and I had a coach in college who always say, start with a plan, even if you got to change it. But start with a plan.
I like that.
Okay? So I encourage, especially persons in transition, because that's where I tend to find most of my work right now. Persons in transition, whether they're new hires, whether they're persons going on to different phases in their lives, persons going into studying, helping them to understand that, okay, this is where you're at right now. What do you need to do to get to the next level? Not where do you need to get ultimately, because I'm not where I'm at, where I want to be right now.
Right.
I'm still on a journey. I would like to know that at some point along this journey, at some point in time, I am able to have a foundation set up to help persons who are less fortunate, persons who are gifted but don't have the resources to maximize on that gifting. I mean, I do a little bit of it now when I have the time to share it with others, but I would like to be at that place where I can give more at that level, but it would require me having a bigger financial base in order to support that.
Right.
So I'm on that journey right now.
Great.
And so, and life is a journey. And I would encourage each entrepreneur to recognize that you are on a journey. You have, and when you arrive at one destination, a new one appears.
Correct.
Because you may start and say, okay, I would just like to be, let's use a dollar value as a marker. I would like to be making $1 million. And then you get to $1 million and you realize it's really not that big a deal.
Right.
So why not try 10 million? Yeah. And that's the reality. I mean, when you were young and in school, probably $1,000 US was a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you purchase a house and a car and you start to work, $1,000 is like, really? So your perspective always changes.
Always changes.
It always changes along the journey. So,
Right.
and that's why I said what I said earlier. Deal with where you're at right now, because you may only need that $1,000 to get you through this day.
Right.
But you may need $1 million to get you to the 10-year goal. So if you start focusing on the $1 million, you would discourage yourself. Deal with what you have to do now.
Deal with what you have now. So you deal with your elephant in small amounts, small bites at a time.
Small bites. And this translates now back to sales, your specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Many times, young salespeople get into the sales process and they're already thinking about having the signed contract and delivering, and they have not even presented the product as yet.
Yeah. And
so they get ahead of themselves. And many times, what can happen there. They don't present well, they botch, they ask premature questions, that type of thing. You need to take your time and build it out. And the business is the same way. You need to take your time and build it out.
Cool.
There are certain things that simply can't happen until others have happened first.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. You can build a Amazon level business in your bedroom. You can start it there, but you can't build it there.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are in that mindset. Okay, I'm here now. Tomorrow I will be Elon Musk.
Right.
You can't be here. You need to take it in steps.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, David, boy, I would just like to say, like, that in itself was such a brilliant piece of advice for both. And I liked how you just really mixed it for both the salesperson and also for the entrepreneurs, because I genuinely believe a salesperson is an entrepreneur. He's a future entrepreneur, because he should really work towards developing himself to really own the business that he is working for right now, or own a very similar business. And I would really love to see more people achieve that, instead of just maybe moving from laterally from one organization to the next, doing the same thing. Like if I'm selling cars, maybe I want to own my own dealership. What is that required? Because I am now the subject matter expert when it comes to automotive. But again, it's really, as you said, it's believing that you could do something like that. So it starts here. And then, of course, the work that's involved to start learning everything about it. And then, of course, that perspective needs to change to achieve that success. David, I would love to say thank you so much for your input. Thank you for sharing your time this morning. I know it's across in Barbados as well, right?
Yes.
All right. How can folks get in contact with you? Can you share your handles on your social media, your website, company name, book? The one that's coming and the one that's already written, and where they can get it, please.
Okay, let's start with the book, From Idea to Implementation, Living Your Passion, by myself, David Ince. It's available on Amazon, $2.99. The book came out of a challenge from one of my clients, incidentally, after doing after running a workshop with them. She asked me, do you have this written down anywhere that I can get this for some of my other staff members? I said at the time, well, not really. This is just what I do. I can say with the slides. She said, no, you don't have it in a book or anything. I said, well, no. And she said to me, as we are speaking now, well, you need to go and write a book. Yes.
Yeah.
And Lyndon, I came home and I actually wrote it in a day and a half.
Right.
I mean, it was really what I spoke about. So it wasn't,
right.
So it wasn't any new material. I simply came and put it in a book format, because she said, I need a short book that I can distribute to my other staff members.
That's great.
And so that's how that was born. The second one that I'm actually working at deals with mindset. I don't have a firm title for it as yet, but it's along the same lines that we spoke about this morning, because most things happen first here. Yeah. Okay. Even the greatest idea, until you have articulated it to yourself in your own mind. It's difficult for you to articulate it to anyone else.
Right.
And if you can't articulate it to another person, you can't sell it to another person.
Right.
Right. So we need to have our minds in the right places so that we can then put the effort in to make it happen. As you asked, how can you get in touch with me? For those who are still old school, email david@livingsuccessfully.co. That's david@livingsuccessfully, one word, .co. My website is livingsuccessfully.co. So you can also find me there.
Right.
On Facebook, there is Living Successfully Inc. page. So you're just putting Living Successfully Inc. and I'll pop up there. On LinkedIn, you can find me as me, David Ince. So you can also find me there. Am I missing anyone?
Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah. Ince.David.
Great.
On Instagram.
Great.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so David, I would say thank you again very, very much, my friend. It's been a pleasure having this discussion with you. And, this is not going to be the only time that I'm going to have you on this, because I do intend to have panel discussions with maybe 3 or 4 other folks. So we will now be co-sharing in space to talk about other things as it relates to sales and entrepreneurship and mindset. And, so thanks again, my friend. And I really did appreciate everything that you shared here. I made a lot of notes, and I'll be putting a lot of this coming out from here. Folks that would actually be viewing this is actually going to come out as a podcast later on. You will see snippets of it on the Instagram page and on the LinkedIn page. And of course, all of the respective handles that David spoke about, I'll be giving you the links there to point it there at the same time. All right. So take care. Have a great day, guys. Peace.
Lyndon, thanks. Have a good one.
Yeah, David, that was brilliant. But you see that you dropped some. Every time that we talk, is more and more stuff keep coming out, right?
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah, that happens. And this one here, because I sort of made it like a little graphic, and I'll try to fix it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it properly. But
I've seen it now, yeah.
It goes belief, work ethic, perspective, success.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I'm going to put your name at the bottom of that. That definitely is brilliant for me. Then we spoke about the lack of ownership. Those things are excellent, man, because those are some of the things I say to people.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things I say to people as well. As it relates to you need to own your own space.
Yeah, you got to own your own destiny. If you don't own your own destiny,
gotta be in charge of that.
Yeah.
So, my friend, what are your plans for the